Don't start me. All right, reserved seats. So first off, welcome back to Dallas. It's not your first visit to a Dallas Comic-Con event, and I don't want to be the guy that asks the immediate question about Goonies, because that's like the band. No, that's the band that that plays their hit song first, and then the rest of the set is like, I haven't heard that song before. But I want to address the question first because it's on a lot of people.
I'll be like Billy Ray Cyrus. I'll play it at the beginning and at the end.
Fabulous. We've seen reunion photos of you with the cast of Goonies, and every now and then we'll hear a little bit of a rumbling. There's a script, there's pre-production, there's some sort of a movement on it. Can you give anybody a glimmer of hope, or is it actually going to be just one of those wonderful things that exist in that one capsule time?
There will be 100%, without fail, categorically, I confirm, a sequel to Goonies. It may not be in my lifetime or yours, but no, you look at all the toys, you look at the anniversary DVD they put out, you look at there was a lot of talk. I know Dick Donner, the director, was very keen on bringing a Broadway musical. He said it was within months they were going to get it out. I don't know why that didn't ultimately convert. But it's so beloved, and each generation discovers it and loves it so much that Warner Brothers is just leaving money on the table. So from a pure financial perspective, I think the next thing should be like, by Christmas they could have it out, an animated Goonies cartoon for television, like Saturday morning cartoon, go on a different adventure every Saturday. That's just me. So,
there are microphones here on the aisles. If you have a question for Sean, I highly recommend grabbing one of those mics. There's one in this aisle.
Do we have any orange shirts around here?
We have a few. There's a couple.
Come on, can you, yes, what pretty lady, what's your name? Ellen, will you grab the microphone or that one over there?
Oh, you want to do a Donnie style?
If people raise their hand, bring it. One of them you can stand up to, because I can just tell that it's going to be better for you. There you go. Yeah. Raise your hand if you have a question.
Absolutely. There's
one here.
You're going to
wait. The lady in pink goes first, because she actually was brave enough to walk all the way over to the microphone. What's your name?
Ellen.
No, the other one.
I'm Kaylee.
Hi, Kaylee.
I was wondering how it felt to play such a pumped up and funny character as Rudy in 51st Dates compared to how you played like Sam Wise in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so just to be clear, Rudy and 51st Dates were two separate movies.
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about physical fitness? It's like, when you say pumped up, you mean kind of steroided out like Doug at 51st Dates? What do you think? It was awesome. Playing Rudy, it was really great. I was in great physical shape for most of that movie, and taking hits from the ex-college guys that they had banging into us, and that was really, really cool. Samwise, I had just run the LA Marathon, and I was 165 pounds of lean, mean fight machine. And then I got Samwise, and they're like 195 pounds and a roly-poly fat boy. And then, which is fine, it certainly wasn't hard to do. Stopped running, started eating. I did a little bit of weight training, and then, which, you start bulking up, and then you stop the weight training and keep eating, and then, nature takes its course. But the hard thing was being overweight, like more than I want. I go in cycles. Right now I'm pretty heavy. Earlier this year I was really skinny. It just depends on my running, basically. I'm a big runner, and if I'm clocking 120 miles a week, I'm just, fit. And then if I stop, I'm fat. So, but the cycle, there's an internal logic to my weight cycle, and with Samwise, I couldn't bounce back. At the normal time, there probably would have been 3 times in that 2 years where I would have then gone and gotten in really good shape, and I couldn't. I just had to stay heavy, and it made my experience of Lord of the Rings different from everybody else's. I was pretty uncomfortable, and it was I mean, I still loved the experience. It was the hardest work I've ever done in my life. It was wonderful to have my wife and daughter with me, and all of that. that, but I was, you know, stinking fat hobbitses.
But the weird thing is that even though you're having to pack on those extra pounds, you're being chased through forests in 20 pounds of feet, plus all of the gear and everything else. So it's for you to have that. Yeah.
The feet, you go in at 4 in the morning, and you stand on a box, and a tired person comes in with cold, dry, crusted paintbrushes and paints glue onto the bottom of your feet in a scratchy, icy mix, and then you slip your foot in, and then they paint the bottom of the silicone hobbit foot in glue, and then they put powder in it, so that's nice and tacky and icky and gross every day for 2 years, and you slide your foot in there, and then you stand up so there's no air bubbles in it, and then they glue the edges around the seams of where your thing is, where your heel or ankle is, and then they start cold, smelly, stingy airbrushing on the little cuts and scrapes that you get. And so then after 90 minutes, you've got your hobbit feet on, and now you step out of that and you put on these boots, these thick green space boots that are meant to protect the feet. And I don't even know where they got them from, but they kind of look like what you'd have if you're going to put a sock on a cast. But anyhow, so we put those on, and then you kind of shuffle awkwardly, down the stairs. And you get to your dressing room, and the door opens, and you get in there. And then 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock rolls around. Okay, they're ready to do a shot. Okay. So you go over, you get now into the van drives you down the street, around the corner to the next studio, and you get out there and you walk over, and now you just decide, I can't take the boots anymore, they're just too annoying. So you peel those off, they're all sweaty and gross in there, you dump those in the van, and then you walk over and you stand, and they describe what you're going to do, and they've got gravel kind of stuff on the ground, and then they've got a little kind of an incline like this, and they describe what you're going to do, and you wait then for like another 45 minutes to an hour. And then they say, okay, ready, and action. Sprint to the top in your wet, salty, sweaty, gluey, sticky, I forgot the part where they shave your hair on your feet, and then so it's like pulley, tuggy thing, and you get to the top of it, and you've been sedentary for a long time, so it only takes 20 yards for you to be totally out of breath. And then and they say, okay, great. And then you shuffle back and you sit in your chair and you wait for another 40 minutes.
I'm amazed they made 3 movies of that.
and then you do it again. So, and like if you're on the volcano, you'd have a blowout, right? Like all of a sudden a toe would rip off. And then 9 guys would come up and they'd sit down and open it up in boxes and tape and, staple gun and whatever else they put on there. So, the point you were making was, aren't you physically fit doing that? And the answer is no, it's just bleh.
How much money would it cost to have you run another marathon in those hobbit feet? Let's have the next question. Do we have another question? Let's see. One right here, back in the back. I saw her.
I'm just wondering, do I have to be in the Hobbit? Like, do I have to be in the Sam costume?
No, just the feet.
Just the feet.
You could be in Nike gear, Under Armour, the rest of it, but you have to run the full 26.2 in the Hobbit feet. This is going to take
Do I keep the money, or does it go to charity?
I think it's your call at that point. I think it goes to the Sean Astin Pain and Suffering Fund at that point.
I don't know.
Split the shin splints. Yes, ma'am.
Tough call.
Sir, actually.
Oh, sorry about that.
For charity, I do it for free. For charity, I do it for free. You got to pay me about $10,000.
Word.
Okay.
Yes, sir. My daughter would like to know, she's too shy to ask, what your favorite TV show is.
Ooh.
And then my question is, how's your foot doing? I heard you hurt it during the production.
Can she hold the microphone? What's your name?
Madeline.
Wait, Madeline, stand up. I can't see you. Oh, hi. Can you wave? Can you repeat your dad's question for me? I didn't hear it. What?
How's
How's your foot doing?
Oh, I thought you had a question first.
I did.
What was your question?
What's your favorite TV show?
Ah, I think she did just fine. So, Madeline, I would say that my favorite TV show is, well, one I watch with my kids, which I guess makes me a bad parent, but we watch Friends. We love Friends. We just watch it over and over and over again, and so we love that one. West Wing was one of my favorite TV shows of all time. What's on now? We kind of watch Modern Family, and we watch, yeah, all the usual suspects, you know, we like all of them. But, New Girl. And there's gonna be, I saw the preview for the next one, and it looks really, really funny. She gets to be like, have a supermodel photo shoot, and she kind of messes it up, but Zooey Deschanel, anyway. I could go on. My foot is fine. It was fine the next day. Everybody, raise your hand if you know the story of the foot. Wow. It is in the special features. All right, shall I tell the story of the foot?
Please tell us, sir.
Raise your hand if you've seen The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it is. Well, that's what it was. Raise your hand if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings. I promise you no one will attack you. Okay. Okay.
You have homework.
All right, so at the end of the first of the fellowship, when the fellowship has split apart, Frodo leaves after his incident with Boromir in the woods, and he is going to set out on his own for Mordor. And Sam goes running after him, and Frodo gets in the canoe, and then just as he's pulling away, Sam gets to the shore and yells, you know, Mr. Frodo, and Frodo says, you can't come, Sam, I'm going alone, or something like that. And Sam says, of course you are, and I'm coming with you. And he goes marching into the water. Well, he can't swim, so he just starts to drown. And then Frodo, I guess in a demonstration of friendship, comes back, reaches down and grabs his hand and pulls him up onto the boat, and they just have this really wonderful scene, which actually wasn't written in the initial screenplay. It was actually, they didn't really have a very good end of the fellowship. And it was really kind of into filming a good bit when Philippa and Fran Walsh is Peter's partner. They have children together, and they're producing partners and writing partners. And then Philippa, who came in, who I guess now is a producing partner of theirs, but was a writing, well, maybe she's a producer then too. But anyhow, Fran and Philippa, they wanted us to come to dinner. They'd never done this they never did this the whole movie, where just me and Elijah were told, you know, you got to go to dinner with Peter and Fran and Philippa. And it was kind of, well, first we thought we were in trouble. I know I shouldn't have messed up that hitting work in the head with a pan scene. But we sat down and they told us, I can't remember if they handed us the pages and told us, or they told us what the end was going to be. And it was just so great, you know. And so we were getting ready to shoot that scene. My wife and daughter who were there with me the whole time. They would always travel with us, you know, in the cool, you know, planes that they would charter, the DC-3 plane down to the South Island of New Zealand. And so they were, you know, they were just great. They went to school with Peter and Fran's kids, and with Billy and Katie, and she went to school. And I keep forgetting, only Allie was around. Elizabeth and Isabella, my other two daughters, came along way after. Which is weird for them, because they look at Allie, and Allie was in the movies, you know. She played Eleanor at the end of the third film. But anyhow, so we get ready, we rehearse it and everything else. So we line up, we do the shot, they call action, and I go running through the woods, step into the water, step, 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 and like on the second or third step, a piece of glass that had been left there went straight up through my silicone hobbit foot, cut through the foot and went right to the bone. And I just grabbed onto the side of the oversized canoe. They made it bigger so it looked like a human-sized canoe. We're hobbits, so our hands wouldn't be as big. But anyhow, grabbed onto the oversized canoe, and just, so much pain, just like gritting my teeth. And I kind of, you know, hobble out of the water, and I sit down, and they could tell pretty quick that I wasn't, that there was something wrong. And they came over, they got the medic down, and the medic had those scissors with the little ball on the end of them, you know, so they don't jab in you. So he cuts into the hobbit feet, which I told you, you know, they're glued in really strong. So when he starts cutting up the middle of it like this, and he opens it up, and a big hunk of coagulated blood just splats out on the ground. And I'm sitting there, and it's like, oh, and he says, it's okay, it's bleeding quite freely now. So I'm